Welcome back, guys. This is Nabil from the Blended Roast, and I am here through a Zoom call with my
Hi
mom,
guys.
and my brother. He's in Dominican Republic. Carlos, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hey everyone, name is Carlos Veras, and hopefully, what we're going to talk about today is going to be of some value to you guys.
Yes, perfect. So today what we're going to be talking about, sorry guys, it's going to be a little maybe a little bit different from our usual episodes. But what we're going to do is I really wanted to share my story, well, my brother's story with you guys. He has a very important message to share with our viewers, and hopefully people can actually grasp the understanding of the story and get some real good how would I say it? Good advice from it. That's what we want to, really do with it. So we're recording from the Dominican Republic. I'm here in Connecticut. And what we're going to do is he's going to start with his story. My brother's story is one of the choices and consequences of resilience and redemption. He has been deported to Dominican Republic, but we're going to start with how he was when he was here in the United States. Carlos, can you kind of tell our viewers where were you living? What were you doing, in your adolescence years, where you were working, and kind of guide us through that area of your story, your younger years.
Hmm. Before I get to the place where I was in the US, I probably would want to say how I started off actually from here going over there, in a way. How important it was for us to actually make it into the United States, how it was actually something to look forward to, like a dream for a lot of us when we were young. That was the only thing that a lot of people spoke about was actually going from the Dominican Republic all the way to this dream world, which is basically the USA. And still to this day, a lot of us here are still talking about making it to that wonderful country that people actually dream about making it, because that's basically a place of opportunity for a lot of us here in the Dominican Republic, something that people actually look forward of doing. Um, as well, I want to let everybody know that I come from a very good family. I was raised with my grandmother and two aunts. My mom left at a young age. She stayed in touch, of course, and she basically sent things for us to basically live well, eat, and have whatever it is that we needed. But I come from a Catholic background, from a lot of morals, values, and principles that were implanted in me at a very young age. But as we go along through this interview, you will actually know that those seeds that were planted at a young age was basically what helped me make better decisions later on in the future as I grew. But it's important for us to basically stay grounded and somebody to be consistent with letting us know our values or morals and principles, because along the way we kind of lose touch when other things are presented to us. Um, but yeah, I made it to the United States when I was 9 years old, and I was extremely happy. I couldn't believe I actually made it to this country. Um, when
Did
I
you go
got there,
straight? I'm sorry. Did you go from, so when you run from Dominican Republic, where did you go? Did you come to Connecticut right away, or where was it that you ended up in?
well, we arrived in Manhattan, in New York.
So you saw New York, and was it like everyone's dream, like the lights? Was it beautiful? Like I remember mom talks about it, and mom says she remembers when she landed and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is really like the movies, right? You see the big lights and
Yeah,
you see New York
yeah.
City." Was it like that? Did it feel like that for you?
To me, it was very much like that. But remember, I was 9 years old. I wasn't that old, so I was
That's
only
true.
nine. So when I made it over there, I was a kid. So I used to love watching cartoons, and I still do. Keep it on the low.
Keep it on.
Um, and one of the cartoons that was very popular at that time and very influential for all of us at that age was the Ninja Turtles. And remember, the Ninja Turtles, the theme was in New York.
New York pizza.
And basically, when we made it there, me and my brother, we made it there. We saw like we were in the place where the Ninja Turtles were, and we were so innocent at the time that we actually believed like the Ninja Turtles was in New York. But
Yes.
one of the first things that I remember, we made it into an apartment that my aunt used to live in, and they were asking us because everybody was so happy and we were so small. They wanted to please us with everything, so they were like, "What you guys want to eat? What you guys want to do?" And the only thing that we actually wanted to eat was pizza with pepperoni. We never had it before, but we always used to see it in the animation, in the cartoons, that they used to like eating pizza. So that was
Mm-hmm.
something like we were like, we want to eat this stuff that we always watch the Ninja Turtles eat. So we always want pizza. So when we got that pizza and we were actually eating that, that was like something that we couldn't
A
even
dream
believe.
come true.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a dream come
we didn't
true.
even know that was like a reality because back then over here they probably sold it, but we didn't really have the resources in order for us to eat it like that. So we didn't never had it until we made it over there.
That's nice. So you go to New York and then from there you go to, is it Connecticut?
I believe it was the next day. I want to say that we headed to Connecticut. Um, we
And how
lived
was
in, I
it being
believe,
reunited with mom? You got to get reunited with mom, right? How was that? Do you remember that feeling?
it was a good feeling, but it was kind of like a nervous feeling because we were basically leaving grandma here and my and two of our aunts that were down here. I believe it was only Glenny's back then that was here, and we were just going to a place that we didn't really understand how what we were gonna do. We just were
Yeah,
happy to be there and we wanted to fit in a way, but we were so young, we were just like going along with whatever else was going on. But once we
right.
got to the house that we were gonna live in, me and my brother had our own rooms. Our mom actually had for us like the bed set up, and I believe she had the blankets and everything with the Ninja Turtle on the bed sheets because I believe I don't know she probably found out that we used to like it so much or whatever.
She found out. And
So
I
yeah,
mean, mom
so
always no, and mom, I see you're getting emotional. Can you tell everybody how you felt when you got reunited with your boys again? You can say it in Spanish, it doesn't matter.
Uf, esto, no sé si yo puedo encontrar cómo, qué fue eso, la emoción de yo tener mis hijos de nuevo conmigo, después de muchos años que yo estuve en el país sin ellos. Yo estaba loca de la alegría. Y era una felicidad, y no fue que I find out, era que yo hablaba por teléfono, antes no había la, como ahora que podemos hablar así por FaceTime, teníamos que en New York de buscar la manera de comunicarnos y nada más era por teléfono.
One
So
second.
cuando yo sabía, no, eso que yo sabía que a ellos les gustaba Ninja Terror, so todo yo lo tenía preparado y todo lo que a ellos les gustara y todo lo que una mamá después de tantos años de no tener sus hijos quieren tener para ellos, pensando darle alegría y fue no fue una sensación de un día, fue de muchos días, de amazing, era algo muy,
mhm.
muy reconfortante y muy feliz de tener mis hijos juntos de nuevo, como tanto que yo luché porque así fuera.
God, I'm glad. I know that was, I know I saw you getting emotional when I just wanted to clear that up because I wanted to know how you felt. Carlos, but you can continue. So you're 9 years old, you're in your new room and it's scary, but it's exciting, right? It's exciting. You got your
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle stuff, you ate your pizza already, so you're good to go. So now you're here living, back at with mom. So you get back, I guess you get enrolled in school, right?
Yeah, we started school rather quickly, I believe. I don't know what time I got in there, if it was summertime or winter time, but I believe it was a cold already. It was probably cold already when I got there. So we started school rather quickly because mom was working constantly anyway, so it's not like she was on vacation or anything. Um, so we got enrolled into school rather fast. That was kind of a big challenge for us because imagine we didn't speak the language at all. So school was tough in the beginning. Uh,
Right.
but we were raised here in DR, so it's not like we wasn't kind of like tough skinned already, I would say, in a way. So we made it there. It was awkward because we didn't speak the language, so we were just there, listening to people speak things that we didn't understand and trying to make friends, but not really knowing how to make friends.
And
Um,
no real guidance, right? You didn't really have guidance. You didn't have anyone to really, because me and Trish and I are younger than you. So, we had our own thing and we only speak English at this point. We understand some Spanish, but majority of the time we were speaking English, I think it was. And that, I think trying to find that guidance, that's really hard. There's no real mentors or anything like that for you guys at this point. So now you guys are trying to figure this out on your own.
Yeah, because I don't even remember kids that even spoke Spanish in the classroom. I believe it was only me. Like it was just thinking back about it now. I'm trying to remember if there was anybody that spoke Spanish, and I don't remember anybody that spoke Spanish like that. You could be like, what are they saying, or how do I do this, or whatever. But they had a lot of nice teachers back then. I will say there was like two teachers that were very dedicated and they were very caring. I will say, and wanting to help, and you could notice that even as a child, you could notice that they actually care for you to learn, and they actually like focus on making some progress with you. So I remember that for sure. But then I also remember that there were kids that were basically like making fun of us, but you didn't know they were making fun of us, so you will laugh with them, and you don't know they're laughing at you actually because you don't speak the language or clowning you. But you got to know that like further along because you actually kind of picked up some things later on. Because remember, when you're young, you actually learn rather fast. So we watched
Right.
cartoons in English, music in English when we got there, even though we didn't understand it. And then back then there was a lot of repetitiveness when it came to like learning the ABCs or like how to say simple words like home, dad, mom, whatever. They actually made us learn all these things. And eventually, as a kid, you actually learn pretty quickly. I say like the first year, I actually picked up a lot. I could have a conversation and then really see the people that I thought were my friends, they were just clowning me or whatever, and then you make adjustments. Um,
Right.
but like I said, we were tough skinned. So I remember one of the things that actually helped me in a way was that there was this one particular kid that he was a bully, and it was funny because I even remember his name, and I actually tried to look him up to see like what he was
What's he
doing in life,
doing?
like just
Yeah.
yeah, like what's he up to, you know?
He's
And I
still being
remember his name. His name was Bobby. His name was Bobby, right? And there was this kid that everybody was afraid of Bobby. That was like the scariest kid in the classroom, right? And I remember that one time that I actually knew that he was clowning me is that he actually like sat on me and like he farted on me, right? He farted. As a kid, remember, we're 9 years old. And then there I realized like, oh, this guy is like disrespecting me, and we got into like a scuffle, like we started fighting. And then when everybody realized like I was able to fight Bobby, like everybody looked at me differently. And then from there, me and Bobby started being like friends, like respecting each other, because I was the only kid, at least that I remember, that actually fought him. And from there, everything kind of changed. Even at
mm.
that age, at 9 years old, everything kind of changed. Like everybody just started looking at me like, okay, Carlos, like he's good, like let's leave him alone. Like he's not gonna allow people to like do that to him anymore. And from
And
there,
that's
things
at
kind of started getting better in a way.
no, so you're noticing that at a very young age, right? You're noticing that it's almost like you have to like fend for yourself and you have to stand up for yourself, right? So that's what's happening at 9 years old. That's such a young age. And I was going to ask you, fast forward 12, 13 years old, were you getting in a lot of fights? Was it really that you were getting in a lot of fights, or was it more like you were standing up for yourself and making sure people didn't punk you, or people weren't, looking at you like, oh, he's scared or he can be bullied? It's like, what we're not going to do is bully me. And it's like, that's what you had to do for yourself to show them like you're going to respect me and this is how I'm going to command my respect. Is that how you felt like as you were growing up? So now you're 9, 10, 11. Is that how you felt, things were going, I guess your way in that sense?
Yeah, I didn't analyze things that much. I was a kid, so I didn't analyze things that much. But back in the times that we're talking about, remember I had a bigger brother. So we used to
Right.
fight. We used to fight just for no reason. So basically, we basically always wanted to be kind of tough in a way. When we were young, especially back in the days here in the Dominican Republic, there used to be a lot of fights, and just with your random friends. It wasn't like with enemies. It was just you playing around in the playground, and you start fighting your best friend for no reason, maybe because you lost the game or whatever. So we always had that like fighting thing in us in a way, like, oh, anything like we get mad, automatically we fighting. Like it wasn't no thinking. So in the States, we didn't actually really look for fights. I don't think I actually looked for fights in the States. I actually just think that people saw that I wasn't to play with because I wasn't really a playful like kid like that. I will be playful with my family members, but when I go to school, I put like that serious face, like I don't play face, even at a very young age. So people looked at me like I
That's
was like, oh,
interesting.
he's mature for his age, but not. To me, when I think about it, it was just like a way of protecting myself. Like I'd rather look serious so nobody pick on me instead of being all goofy and the next thing you know, I'm the kid that everybody picks on. So I think that at a young age, I just learned that since I was moving alone, I didn't have like a lot of friends that I was always constantly with. I also had to protect myself in a way, and the way that I believe I protected myself was basically just focus on being serious all the time and not being
And I
so
would say
playful.
you're pretty funny. I mean, I think that, from me growing up with you, I was very scared of you. I I was kind of terrified of you. So when you made me watch Dragon Ball Z with you, I was terrified. Like I was like, I will watch it, whatever you say. But like I think I've noticed like your sense of humor and your softness has came out after having kids. I've seen that. I was like, oh, he can smile and he has a beautiful smile and he's actually really funny, but I think it happens like after you had kids, like it kind of like loose it got it those kids touched you in a different way. Like your father instinct like kicked in. But I feel like ever like since day one, since I've met you, like since I've known you, since we grew up together, you've always had such a serious face. But like I never thought you were I was like, he's not harmful. Like he would never harm anyone. And so I mean I heard a few stories, but I'm like, he would never harm anyone. So like it's interesting that you say that you automatically had that. It's almost like a shield, right? You're going in
Like
and
a
it's like
shield,
I
yeah.
gotta put this shield on because like I'm not about to let anyone walk all over me and no one's gonna think I'm a, excuse my language, but a pussy. Like I'm not gonna have them look at me like that. So it's interesting that that's how you were acting and I was looking at it like that's my big brother, don't talk to him like he's super scary, so it's interesting that you're
Yeah.
actually like you're putting it in perspective. The younger me was very scared of you, but now I understand why you were doing that. um
Yeah, because
so
you also gotta remember when we were young, at least I know me and my brother as well, Juan, our brother, we kind of wanted to protect you guys as well from
yeah.
like other kids. So we kind of also wanted to put a little bit of fear in you guys so that you guys would listen to what we say. So it was like we were taking a role that wasn't really a role to play, but just because that way that we saw like how supposedly brothers take care of their sisters, we actually just went along with the role that we believe that society wanted us to play. So in a way, we kind of, I think like now that I'm older and that I think about a lot of things differently now, I see that it just comes with maturity, knowing that you basically, when you're young, you just do what you believe you got to do. You don't really
Yep,
analyze like, oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. No, you just watch somebody and you see, okay, that's how you do it. So then you just follow along with doing that
that
specifically.
makes sense.
When you mentioned that I kind of like loosened up once I had the kids, I think it came also with maturity, is knowing that I could be me. I didn't have to
Right.
be something that I
So
like a character. I just had to be me. And at the end of the day, I was confident enough to be me. You know, when you're young,
yeah.
you don't really have the confidence to actually just show the world yourself. You actually want to show the world somebody that they like. And once you do that, you basically get lost. But once you like
Mhm.
realize like let me just be myself, and you feel confident with just being yourself. And even if people clown you, like they want to play with you, even when they realize that it doesn't affect you in a way, they loosen up and they're like, okay, it doesn't affect them. Let me go to the next guy because it's not fun messing with somebody that has the confidence to actually stand in a room and you want to clown them and they're looking at you like you're ridiculous for just thinking you're gonna like mess with me like that, you know? So
Right.
I think it came more with maturity and with my family. I always kind of been, I will say, caring for them. You know, I always love my family. I always care for my family very much, especially from like our side of the family when it came to mom and grandma and this side, because that's the part of the family that I actually had more upraising with. I don't really know my other part of the family from my father's side, but when with this family, I always felt a lot of love and connection with them. So I always wanted to play a role in a way that I could be somewhat helpful in a way for them. So that's something that still plays in my mind to this day, and that kind of helps me like have some kind of direction. Because even at
Yeah.
the age that I'm at now, there's still so much I could learn. There's still so much I want to improve. But I'm just more serious about it now. And I still make my mistakes, but I'm more serious about I gotta adjust. I gotta change this. I gotta change that. There's something wrong here. I gotta fix that. I gotta get better here. Because I'm
Yeah.
constantly wanting to be able to help somebody when it comes to family, based on my experience and my growth. Because I believe that sometimes you don't realize who in your family needs somebody to actually sit down and talk to you, or just
Hmm.
sit down and listen to you, you know? And we're so busy with our lives that we just think we have to get, whether it's money or some people want fame and some people want material possession and some people just want to be cool and feel like they're the one that everybody looks up to, but they do dumb things just to achieve that. And
Right.
when you're young, you make all those mistakes. So I think that with kids, especially teenagers, I will say as well, like we need to be more present and aware. Like, let me help them out with these decisions that they're making daily, because I believe that if you don't take the time to actually talk to the kids when they're young and teenage years, their life could be affected like forever. So those
Drastically. Yep.
particular years where the decisions that they're making are very important for their future. Like we have to like shut it down and really like pay more attention to them so they don't get sidetracked, and then their life actually ends up in a way that
Talking
very
about
unlikely
kids.
for you to.
Hey, baby. Say hi to Tio Carlos. Mm.
Hey,
Hi. Yes.
buddy.
Hi, Nana.
Hi,
Mm.
baby. I
Here
love
you go.
you.
And then we'll talk later, okay? Thank you so much. I know. We'll talk later, okay, baby?
You gotta go 9-9. Look at your eyes.
All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, we were just talking about that, which is funny, but I definitely agree with you because also the teenagers nowadays, they're looking at a lot of things that are not beneficial. There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's all of these influences that are not influential, that are not good, but they're using it because they don't have the parents to talk to, because the parents are too busy doing their own TikToks. Their parents are too busy, they work and they come home, oh, leave me alone, I don't want to talk. I struggle, and I think my mommy says, "Oh, you do so good," but I'm like, I wish I can spend more time with the kids. I wish I can be there for them more. When I get home, like today is a perfect example. We're doing, this episode, which is very important to me and is very important, for my kids to see this when, they get a little bit older. But it does hurt me because this is usually the time when I'm, watching a movie with them and I'm like hanging out with them. And that's why, Kaden will come and be like, Mom, what's taking you so long? And I think that once they're in their teenage years is when you need to engage more, because then they start to grow up and then you lose them. And then once you try to tell them things like as an adult, I remember mommy would try to tell me something and I'd be like, and in the United States of America, when you're 18, you're an adult. And she's like, well, in Santo Domingo, cuando tú eres, you're not an adult. And I would say things like, well, we're not in Dominican Republic, and it would be horrible, and I would make those comments like, oh well, we're not in Dominican Republic. So I think it's very important and monumental for us to definitely engage with the kids, and I definitely think it's something that you make a great point of, and I think that you have definitely voiced your opinion with that so much, even in our group chat with us and the cousins. I think you're busy, you have a business, we're all busy, but we can take 5 minutes to, hey Carlos, how are you doing, or hey guys, how things are going. And I think the way you try to bring all of us together. I live in Danbury and most of my cousins are here. Ask me if I see any of my cousins. I don't, like, and it's one of those things like I know if you were here you would 1000%, make time, and we would, I'm pretty sure, see each other a lot more if you were here. It's just because you've always brought us together. And that's something that we wish, we could have more of, having even like I said, those little messages back and forth, it does mean a lot to us. And it's something that everyone always, all of the cousins, Trish, myself, your brother, our brother, we look up to you. We've always looked up to you. And I think that's what has really impacted our family, that you're not around. It has impacted us tremendously, so I want I know that, but I need you to like understand, like how much, you're I'm not saying, we're going to get into it, but your actions did affect a lot of us in big ways, So, I I don't know if you want to continue with the story, and we can keep going. It's going to get a little bit, harder, a little bit deeper, but we'll go into, I
Yeah,
guess, your high school.
before we move ahead, I want to say as well that we always say we're busy. We always say we're busy, right? And it's true, a lot of us do have a lot going on in our lives, right? But we also do a lot of bad time management. If we look at our phones and we actually see how much time we spend on our phones, like watching YouTubes or whether it's TikTok or anything else, and we actually see how much time we waste on the daily, we will actually
Hmm.
realize that we actually do have 10 minutes to call a cousin or a brother or a grandmother or an aunt. It's hard for us nowadays because it's easy to watch a video, entertain yourself for that brief 10 minutes, which actually adds up. And next thing you know, you're watching 30 minutes of a video. So now
Hmm.
I'm trying to be more like conscious in a way that, okay, I do want to watch this, YouTube for about 30 minutes because it's something interesting that I want to watch. But let me take these 5 minutes and just send this real text real quick to my family members. So just say hello and making sure that you guys are good. And I just want to say you guys are well or whatever. I just think we just need to take those little bit of time because sometimes you might send that hello and that particular person starts talking to you and texting you and writing something to you. And next thing you know, you maybe help that cousin or brother or aunt or whoever that with that text that you sent, they just needed somebody to talk to or write to, and a lot of times that happens. That's why I send random texts, not only to my family members, but friends of mine that I haven't talked for years. And I'll be like, let me send this guy a text and let him know, like, how you doing? How's it going? Everything good? Like, I seen you guys pictures and you guys look lovely or whatever, and just give them a little compliment because they might need that. And we're so focused
That's
on putting likes and commenting on people that we will never meet.
right.
And I don't realize why we're so focused on the people that we follow that we don't even know to make sure like that they see that we're commenting or that we liking their videos. And then when it's a friend of yours that's actually trying to do something, you might look at a video and you don't even put a thumbs up. You just like,
Right.
okay, whatever, it's not bell blue. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
so why you don't show interest in the people that actually are gonna build a relationship with somebody that you actually have communication with. You don't have
That's
communication with some of the celebrities or all this gossiping and everything else that's going on. Like,
Like, how do
to
you
me,
know so much more of those people's lives than your own family? That's something I don't
exactly.
get. Like, I'm like, how do you know who Khloe and Kim Kardashian is dating, but you don't even know that your cousin is divorced or they lost a part, like just little things like that, things that can be small but mean so much to that person's life. But you know that this poor person that's a celebrity, lost a divorce, and you're like, what? Like, I don't even I get confused on how some of our family, like, how do you know this information but you don't know like something so simple of your own family member? So I think that's a really good point that you just made, Carlos. I agree with you.
Yeah. But yeah, from there we could move forward. I just wanted to say that basically.
I like that.